Hello, you wonderful Life Path 33 person. Welcome to your year ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, so I just want to say a massive thank you so much to all of you who supported my work throughout 2022. It really does mean a lot to me and the world to me. And it's been amazing to see you guys coming back to these Life Path readings month after month, leaving your comments and your feedback and interacting with you in the comments. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I just want to say from my heart to yours, thank you. And I can't wait for, you know, a whole other year of you doing it as well. With that said, I would like to bless my cards and the session itself with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So you are a Life Path 33 and this year is a 7 year. How is that going to affect you? So if you've been with me long enough, you know I always have my trusty notes handy because there's always so much more information than I can hold in my brain at any given moment. So we're going to get straight into it. So this year, you have to get to work. This is about rolling up your sleeves, getting stuck in and getting to the nitty gritty. This is not a year to have your head in the clouds. This is not a year to do that whole sort of float off thing that you guys can sometimes do. This year you have to be grounded, you have to be practical and you have to be present. All right, this is a year for you to really think about focusing and honing in on your skills, your talents and your gifts. So I'm going to read some of this because some of it really is important. This year, you're being asked to get serious about life, your direction, and your personal power. So most of us, and this kind of includes me, right? Sometimes we're a bit sloppy with our focus or our will. Magic, true magic takes discipline, focus, and a really razor sharp will. You have to be focused in order to make things work or manifest. Now, this year, what you're really being asked to do is to develop your willpower beyond anything that you've ever achieved previously. And this means going to different places and spaces, right? Not just out there in the world, but inside yourself. This is about discovering your own untapped resources and your hidden wonder, effectively. So I've put here as well, many of you are extremely gifted, but sometimes it's a bit of a parlor trick. I've met a few Life Path 33 people, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've never met one that I really looked at and thought, wow, they are fully in command of what it means to be a 33. And that's no shade, that's no shame, that's no hatred, no nothing like that. This is just to say, it's a rare phenomena, right? To see somebody that has mastered all of it. That's why we're here, right? To learn how to master it. But this year, you have to find a way for your skills and your talents and your abilities to make things happen. It's not just something that you can pull out of the bag when things get intense. It's something that you can pull up and do by focus and conscious desire and conscious effort. And so this year is going to see you building a firm foundation on which for you to launch yourself out into the world, which is amazing. A team playing spirit and connections to others is highly favored this year. Growth is massively possible for you this year, and there are going to be some wonderful opportunities for it, providing you are willing to do the hard work. And the hard work is going to be coming down from out of that sort of ethereal world that you guys float around in and bringing it down to ground, right? Being here, being present, being focused. It's also, this is a year for you to use all of the D's: discipline, desire, dedication, determination. These are the things that are going to help you see your goals through to completion this year. Finally, what you don't know, set about learning, right? So if there's an area of your life where you think, well, I kind of only know a surface knowledge of this, that's not going to cut it this year. Even your really, really powerful intuition is not going to carry you the full way. This year you have to hone in on your craft, whatever that craft might be. You have to learn the details, learn the ins and outs, wherever the gaps are between you and the knowledge that you need. It's not good. Like usually it's like you guys can learn a bit of a subject and then like your intuition will really kind of do the rest because you're tapped into things, right? And you're very much immersed in the you know, in the universal consciousness, which means you can pretty much usually pull stuff out when you need it. And that's where it stops for a lot of you. This year, it's about being able to say, right, okay, my knowledge has brought me here. my super powerful intelligent intuition actually has taken me to here, right? It's about finding a way to marry the two this year. So in terms of your sectors, money, right? So it's been said as well, in certainly in Kabbalistic circles, that God determines our money, but the devil is in the detail, right? So the reason I say this is because children, like when you pass and your finances are, they say that those things are all in the realms of the heaven. Whatever you get, whatever you're going to have is basically ordained to you. Obviously, you can, work within the confines of what you've got if you know how to use, your abilities and stuff. And this is one of those reasons. So what if we have it all wrong? And so what I've put here is, what if we've got it all wrong and it's that God is in the details, and that means that money comes to us by being precise. All right. So that's the message this year. Money can go very well for you. It could, and you could sniff like opportunities of financial sort of abundance and blessings out with your amazing intuition, especially for investments, things that like finances this year can do really well, especially if you're practical, grounded and solid. And if you approach them seriously, see a financial advisor, get advice on the investments that you want to make. If you don't have knowledge about something, don't invest in it, or get really clued up on it. Speak to people that are really clued up on that thing and then invest. All right, it's not so easy. So if you're in a personal year 7, given your natural abilities, because 7 years can be quite hard on the pocket, they really can, but this year, because of your gifts and your abilities, if you hone them, you could do very, very well. So in love, this is a year to build the relationship, to nourish your partner by doing the work on yourself and in your own life, because the more fulfilled you are, the more fulfilling your partnership and your relationship is going to be, and the more you can put into it of who you actually are versus what do you know what I mean? It's like coming from a place of power rather than insecurity. The happier you are, the more you can show up for your partner and your family. This is a year for you to lead by example, and your growth and immense expansion this year could really show your partner how to do the same thing, and then it's like you're suddenly part of a power couple. Oh, hey. So if you're single, this is a great year for love, because you could meet somebody who wants to move slowly, and they're moving slowly because they're interested in more than just like the here and now or just the tangible stuff, right? They're not really interested in your money. They're not really interested in your status or who what you can do for them. They want to be with you because they like who you are. But it's like, what? Let me find out more about who that person actually is, which is why it's so important for you to be fully in command of everything that you are capable of. So your warnings: no cutting corners this year, no cheating. As a life path 33, you guys tend to be prone to integrity anyway. It's just kind of like this is the thing for all of the master numbers. It's like they see people doing all kinds of stuff, and then the second they're like, oh, I just took a grape and ate it from the thing, and the security guard's there like, it's like, I'm sorry, you didn't see the guy that just walked out with the TV? That's an extreme example, but the life path number, the 11, 22 and 33, you guys tend to get checked by the universe a little bit more quickly and a little bit more severely than others. Your ability to stick to the path this year is what's really being asked of you. You're being asked to roll up your sleeves and dig into it. Stay honest this year, because it's likely to see that you already know this, right? But the ramifications will probably be heavy. Work. So learn all that you can from the people that you're working with or alongside. So especially if there's someone like, let's say you work at a job, you all fulfill your roles, and there's one person that does like the same thing, but they're super knowledgeable in that field. You know a bit about it that kind of, it helps you do your job, but you don't need to know more than that. approach that person and ask them to teach you. Ask them to share your their wisdom, their knowledge, their skills with you. And when they say like, oh, you know, why are you interested in this? Just say, because I really want to learn. And in return, if you ever want to learn anything about what I do, I'm happy to share. Not only are you building connections that way, but you're also cluing yourself up on lots of different stuff rather than just what you know and that's it. The other thing as well, because you're like this year, you're slightly magnetic, and so it's drawing things and people to you. Being a team player is what's going to advance you, especially where you're working with or alongside groups, or if you're playing the long game. Okay, and then finally, this is a really good year to build solid connections, start new endeavors, and build solid routines. Right, this year, getting a good solid routine, a good solid practice in some way, shape or form is going to be vital. So for your cards, you're going to get one destiny card, one direction card per month. And your first card out, it kind of typifies the year that you're going to have, right? It gives you a little bit of a heads up of what the whole theme sort of is going to be. Now, your first card out is, ooh, interesting. All right, so before we get into that, I know you're like, come on, Raf. Before we start that though, Mars is going to be retrograde at the start of this year, and it will go direct on the 12th of January. Mercury is going to be retrograde until the 18th of January. So we're starting the year slower. It's going to have like a bit more of a slow, steady energy to the start of the year. So if you come in and you're like, yes, a new year, I'm going to charge in, that energy isn't necessarily going to be available. And as such, if you kind of feel like, oh, you know, the year's starting really slow, does that mean everything's going to go wrong? No, it's not that at all. It's just starting slower. And so as long as you're aware of that energy, you know that you don't have to push against the boulder, because it's like eventually it's going to move itself. Okay. Now, that being said, your first card out for the year is the Justice card, right? There's so many ways that this can show up for you. One, this could suggest that there are a lot of partnerships, connections and collaborations that are coming up, that doing things by yourself is not the way to go this year. I talked about it being for team players and all the rest of it. You saw me shuffle the cards, right? So the fact that this has come up really for me tells me that that stuff with the numerology is kind of spot on. The other thing that this suggests as well, partnerships, connections and collaborations, is how you're doing everything this year. It also suggests, and Justice, don't forget, it's not just about you know, we'll talk about the legal stuff in a minute, but it's not just about you know, like, oh, you're getting just desserts and stuff. This is also about your rewards, right? Sometimes it's the justice that's being done is that we get what's owed to us, right? It's not always about, oh, well, you know, justice is you getting your karma. Sometimes it's you getting the promotion. Sometimes it's you getting the pay rise. Sometimes it's you getting the recognition for all of your hard work. So don't let this kind of make you see it in just this narrow focus. The other thing as well, when it comes to January, this could be a time where you're signing a new contract or considering one. It could be where you're looking over some kind of contract. I will say to you, if there are any legal things that are happening at this moment in time, remember you do have those two retrogrades going on, and so you just want to make sure that you're reading the fine print. All right, when it comes to your clarifications, you get one destiny card, one direction card, and your direction card is all right, you got the Four of Pentacles. So some of you could literally start the year purchasing a home. Some of you are looking at the finances, the money and the resources. What do I need? Do I have what I need to buy a home? For some of you, you could be deciding that this is the year, right? I don't care what's going on with the economy or in the world. I'm going to buy a house this year, and I'm going to start that process in January. It's a good time to do the research. It's a good time for you to look into this. If you were born with a Mercury retrograde or born with a Mars retrograde or both, this is a perfect time to do this kind of thing for you. If you weren't born in those energies, this is a good month for you to do the research. And it looks like a lot of you are doing that. For a lot of you as well, it looks like you're looking at the finances here. How much can I borrow? It doesn't necessarily have to revolve around a house. This could be about a business. You could be looking at, right, what is it going to take for me to get a business loan? What are the startup costs involved in what I'm trying to do or what I would like to do for myself out in the world? It also suggests as well that your people, your family, your friends, the people that are connected to you are supporting you, right? So potentially financially as well. So as we come into February, you have the Devil card. So be mindful of whatever you're getting into in January, because February, it kind of looks like this is one of those moments where, you know, January you were like, no, it has to be this way. And February, you might be compounding that energy where it's like, no, it has to be this way. I'm sticking to this. This is the way that it's got to be. And it's almost like you're not leaving any breathing room for something to evolve naturally. It could also be that you're being a little bit too rigid about how something has to happen at this time. You've got this with the 5 of Wands, so there's going to be a lot of competition around in February, and this is something that you need to be mindful of, right? So whatever you're trying to do, I will say, if you come up against adversity or competition, February, it basically means you're doing something right, okay? If there's a lot of brouhaha and people are whinging or, you know, oh, why, you know, all of that usual stuff, don't get into it, right? If there's backstabbing and, you know, kind of, I don't know, in Greece we call it glossophia, you know, it's where you I can't really find the words to explain it, but it's like if you see a lot of that sort of in-house bickering, water cooler talk, gossip and stuff, don't get involved in it. All right, February, you're likely to see some of this taking place, and if it is, not my monkey, not my circus, right? Or not my circus, not my crowd, not my monkey, not my crowd, whatever it is. That, all right? So just be mindful of getting into stuff that it's not even so much that it doesn't concern you, it's like it's drawing time and energy and you don't really need to get involved in it. But that is a possibility, all right? Now, as we come into March, May, October, these are packed months, right? These are absolutely packed months. Now, what this tells me is March is very likely to be a month. So let me go through it in this way. Pluto is going to move out of the sign of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius. Saturn is moving out of the sign of Aquarius and into the sign of Pisces, and if that wasn't enough, we've got Mars moving out of the sign of Gemini and into the sign of Cancer. Now this is a big deal, and the reason it's a big deal is because Mars has been in the sign of Gemini where it doesn't necessarily do very well, because it has to kind of, Gemini does this, right? It goes either way, different directions, here, there and everywhere. Whereas Mars likes this, direct focus, forward momentum and action. On top of that, it's been in this sign that it doesn't do very well in for an X amounts of time. As if that wasn't enough, we've also had the retrograde. Mars hates to go retrograde. So when it comes into the sign of Cancer, I believe that this is a moment where Mars is going to be like, yes, you know what? This is exactly what I needed. Fair enough. Mars goes into its fall in Cancer, so it's not necessarily the easiest energy, but Mars is going to be like, you know what, I've been in this sign for too long, I've been having to do this, that and the other and splitting my focus, and I haven't been able to think because I've been going retrograde. Now I've got something to go forward momentum on. I can focus here, I can do what I need to do in the sign of Cancer. I've got one thing to focus on. All right, so even if it's not at its best, it could, I actually think this will be a welcome relief for all of us for that. So if you want to find out how all of these transits, these big transits that I mentioned here, are speaking to your sun, your moon, or your ascendant sign, for $4.99, you can get, in the link in the description box below, your year ahead Astro Taroscope. So this year you're getting your 90-minute breakdown of the cards, the lunations, your moon, your eclipses, how these things are going to speak to your sign specifically. On top of that, you're getting the eclipse overview video, which I'm not releasing on any of my platforms anywhere, so you won't get that unless you're in there. And as if that wasn't enough, you're also getting a 19+ page document that's going to show you how to that's going to show you how these transits basically are affecting you and your sign specifically. So if you want to get your sun, moon and ascendant, that's like $14.97. If you want to get the bundle of all 12, that's $24.99, which is Like, I mean, just look at how much you're getting for that, all right? If you want to get those, the link is in the description box below, and there'll be one of those things that floats around above my head. For March, you have the Chariot card, right? So this could very well be a month where if there is any bickering or backstabbing or issues, etc. like that, this could be where you come out the victor, right? If you're signing any sort of documents or paperwork here in January as well, this could be, you know, where things are finalized. Maybe your bid for the house is taken. Maybe your business plan is accepted, right? You get all of the good news coming in. And this comes up with the Devil card. So whatever's happening here with the competition, you beat the competition out, right? Which is great. The challenge that you have is, how far is too far? When is winning an argument no longer winning, right? And I always say this to people. This actually I say about the Five of Swords. If, like, you have an argument with someone, let's say you're the sort of person you never swear, like you don't use profanity or whatever, you're obviously nothing like me, right? But you never that. And then you get into an argument with someone, and by the end of the argument, you're like effing and blinding and throwing hand signals and all sorts. And like you walk away from that, it's like, okay, well, you won the argument, you shouted the person down, but you completely lost your composure and you acted in a way that's nothing like who you are. Did you really win it then? This March, it's like whatever's happening, yes, you're beating out your competition. Yes, you are fending someone off, or maybe you're shutting someone or something down. But it's almost like there's a part of you that walks away from it like, yeah, I kind of feel like I compromised my own personal morals to do that. You got to ask yourself, is it worth it? All right. And only you will know if that's the case. I will say this to you, when it comes to your car, your vehicle, March is a time where you probably want to get this looked at, if not change it. And I will probably say as well, February, you might have the early warning signs that a car needs to be looked at. Maybe it's on its way out. Maybe it's costing you more money than you would hope. I got to be honest, there is a part of me there's two ways that this could go. One, you're overpaying for a vehicle or some form of travel. Two, it's like you're getting something repaired when really you should just be replacing it, all right? And it's not easy, right? Especially in these current times, I get it. For April is a big deal as well, because we've got the first eclipse in the sign of Aries. This is a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. It's kicking off that Aries and Libra axis. So pay attention to what happens around that in April, because when it happens, you're going to be getting a heads up of this is what you're dealing with over the course of 2024. So this is a heads up moment. For for April, you've got the Moon card. So you might not be 100% clear on what this is kind of saying to you in April. You might actually, at the moment, like when April comes, you might be a bit sort of unclear on some of the information that you're being given. Second opinions, right? Really, really important. The other thing is as well, remember the Moon card represents the past, and you've got this with the Seven of Cups. There's two things that I have to say to you here, all right? For those of you, and now we're starting to get a different picture here as well. February, you've got the Devil. March, you've got the Devil. Here you've got the Moon card and the Seven of Cups. The Devil coupled with the Seven of Cups and the Moon card, that is heavy drug use, substance abuse, all of that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not, maybe not for all of you, but I will say for those of you that are prone to addiction, that have had a history of such things in your past, April is a month to reach out to your people. April is a month to check in with your people. If you can feel like you're dipping in your mood, like, I'm not a therapist, a counselor, or a doctor, or any sort of professional. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing in my cards, right? And there are certain signatures. When you see them, you know what you're looking at. Now, on a personal level, if you feel in April, you know what, I'm feeling like, let's say you've been sober 5 years, feeling like I need a drink today, man. It was just really, really, today's a heavy day. If that's the case, before you do that, reach out to a friend. Go and surround yourself with people that you know love and care about you. Do not be on your own and do not suffer on your own. All right. Now, that's for those of you that speaks to directly. Another way that this could show up And there will be signs of this, right? And this is why I'm bringing it up. And I'm sorry, I know it's not all sweetness and light, but life is infinite shades of grey, all right? We get the sweets and we get the sours too. February, someone comes to you, oh, you know, I've been hanging around with these people, maybe there's a little bit of peer pressure there. March, you know, something seems to be shaping up. April hits, and all of a sudden someone's past seems to catch up with them. If there's someone that you know has been an addict or has struggled with substance abuse or anything like that, there's likely to be a relapse that goes on here in April. Now, I say this to everybody, but it's important to reiterate it here. We have free will. I'm not like the universe, so I don't ordain these things and say this is exactly how it's going to happen. You see this stuff when you have readings. This means you can be prepared for it. It means you can adjust and adapt when certain things, telltale signs, etc. set up. So if you know somebody that's been through a journey like that, April is likely to be a month where they are potentially relapsing. And because you know this, you can say, yes, you know what, this is great. I'm going to put something in place, or I'm going to check in with that person. I'm going to spend time with them. Now, the Seven of Cups, back to you personally, the Seven of Cups can be a card of self-illusory tendencies. Coupled with the Moon, could be potentially where you're convincing yourself that something, no, it's all fine. It's all fine. It's like you're completely glossing over something that you know deep down, especially with your intuition, you'll know this isn't right for you. And it's like you're taking a step, maybe that's taking you out of, not even out of your comfort zone, but out of your self-preservational mechanisms. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you know that there's a friend that you hang around with that always gives you like backhanded compliments, or when you come away from being with them, like, you know, your self-esteem takes a dip or whatever. You don't need that person in your life. And this might be a time where it's like you're kind of saying, oh, no, maybe because you've known them for so long, maybe because you're childhood friends, maybe because you've got a secret that you share in your past. Even still, not worth being connected to anybody like that, all right? This is not a month to convince yourself that everything is fine. You've got to look at it exactly as it is. Enough with the heavy. All right, so as we come into May, packed astrological month, Mercury retrograde in the sign of Taurus. As if that wasn't enough, Jupiter, big Uncle Jupe, is moving into the sign of Taurus. Is going to be there right the way through to 2024. So Jupiter has been doing this thing where it retrogrades out of one sign and then it goes back into the sign that it's been moving through as its transit. When it goes into Taurus on May the 16th, it's going in and it will stay there. That's it, done, right? Now, on top of that, we've got a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. This is the last Scorpio eclipse for the next 9-10 years. So we're done with this cycle at this point. For May, you have the Strength card. The Strength card has come up a lot for May. Like, and obviously I'm swapping the decks, so the fact that this card keeps consistently coming up here, there's something, there's something happening here in Europe, all right? So the Strength card represents a lot of the Latin-speaking countries, Italy, France, Spain. There's a lot of stuff going on over there over the course of this year, especially in May. So I think in May we're going to see a lot of stuff going on with the Eurozone, maybe with the currency there, maybe with the shipping routes, maybe, you know, because that's the other thing that came up a lot for May and June, was that something is happening on the water. There's going to be some big news or something's happening around or on the water. So the Strength card for you personally, you're having to dig deep for something here, right? This is you having to really kind of say, okay, you know what, I'm going for it regardless. And this comes up with the Two of Pentacles. So there's a few ways that this could show up for you, right? If you're traveling, March and May look like the times that you're doing it. The other thing is as well, you've got the Strength card with the Two of Pentacles. The money that you need is available to you to make what looks like a big move, right? So this could be a change of country. It could be starting a business. It could be, I don't know, launching a new product or whatever it might be. And it's like the money or the finances that you need are available to you. I'm going to be honest, because it's on top of the Strength card. So it is a bit of a gamble. But if you're prepared to put in the long work, the hard work, play the long game, you know, probably around 2 years, then the results and the rewards are absolutely there for you, especially with whatever you're kicking off here. Now, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, May would be a really good time to look after your physical back, like your actual back, but also your knees. All right, so when it comes to health, those are the aspects of you that you need to look out for. Again, not a doctor, not a medical professional. For June, you have the Lovers card. So choices and options are available to you in June. Potentially financial decisions being made here in June as well, in line with what your budget and your resources are. So you might be rethinking some of this stuff. Now, when it comes to partnerships and relationships, it looks really nice. I mean, you've got this here with the Six of Pentacles. So this is really interesting to me, because the Lovers card is number 6. The Six of Pentacles is obviously the number 6. 2 6s represents balance or irritability. And here it actually, to me, represents balance, especially because the Six of Pentacles is a very balanced card. This is about exchanging hands, exchanging contracts, exchanging finances, money and resources. So you've got financial options that are available to you in June. You've potentially got your partner or your significant other giving you money or giving you some sort of material gift. For those of you that are single, this could be a time where you're meeting somebody in a different pay bracket. Let's say, you know, you earn, I don't know, 80k a year, and you meet somebody and they're like a millionaire, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, for me, that would always be really awkward. Like, yes, I'm sure it would be nice when they give you gifts and stuff, but I'm always like, oh, you know, like, I don't want to be kept or any of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that we're going in like this. But there's nothing wrong with it. There are millions of couples out there that are of different pay brackets, and it's fine. You know, this is actually something that I learned in the last relationship that I ever had. It was something that I really, really had to learn. Like, when I got together with this person, my income, my earnings was really low, and I hated it. I hated, like, no, if we go out and we're paying, I'm paying my half. Like, I was really, really stubborn with it. By the end of it, I learned to be the complete opposite way and say thank you for the wonderful things that my partner would do for me. And by the end of that, I actually was earning more than them. So do you see what I mean? Like, it's all swings and roundabouts. But yeah, there's a lot of finances and money exchanging hands here in June, and I actually think it'd be a good thing. For July, you've got the Death card. All right, so look, I've already said that May through August is the challenging period of 2023. For you guys, it looks like the earlier portion of the year is actually the challenging time. The Death card, endings, completions, culminations. You've got this here with the Six of Pentacles. So I wonder if June and July is going to see you clearing a debt, maybe settling an old score when it comes to finances or money. It might also be that you are forgiven a debt, or maybe you are forgiving a debt. You've got the Death card here with the Emperor. Now, this combination came up, I think, for August and December. And one of the things that I will say for a couple of the signs, and then there was one of them that came up with the Five of Cups. I think next year we are losing, I think it's going to be a woman, but it could be a guy, right? Now, the reason I say this is because the Death card is a death. The Emperor, in a woman's spread, it's usually like her husband or her boss. In a man's spread, it's usually him or his father. When we read for the world, that could be a monarch. It could be the head of a big company, like a big sort of institution or whatever. It could also be the head of a company or a CEO, but it's somebody that's very much in the public eye. And when this happens, I personally think it's going to be a woman. Between May and July, or May and August, let's say, I think there's going to be a prominent woman that we lose from the world. And I really hope that I'm wrong on that front. On a more personal level, I'm really sorry to say, but it is potentially an older person, like an older male in your life could be passing. I hope that's not the case. On a more sort of mundane level, this could be some of you breaking ties with a boss. This could be some of you breaking ties with, you know, a teacher or a lecturer. Maybe you're leaving university. Maybe you're leaving your place of work for pastures anew. Very possible. It could also be as well, maybe, you know, again, I touch wood, maybe the person that's passing, if they are, is a boss, is somebody that you work with, somebody that you really look up to. Now, that being said, The Death card is the number 13. 1 and 3 gives you 4. The Emperor is number 4. 2 4s literally represents insomnia. So July could be a time where you're really struggling to sleep or you're not getting enough rest. August, you have the Hermit card. So taking some time to recharge and refresh. If you haven't seen my 2023 video, it's really, really important that you watch that, because it's going to provide a much needed context for how the whole year is affecting all of us. And one of the things that I advised everybody to do, I don't care whether you're married, whether you've got 7 children, whatever, take some time away and alone for yourself this year. Even if it's only a day or 2 days or whatever, like, this is a year for you to take some time away or out for yourself. All right, very, very important. And it looks like some of you could be doing this in August. So that's not necessarily, like, that's not a bad thing. The other thing with the Hermit card, remember, this is where you're having not necessarily just time out, but it's also like where you're taking like an inward journey. Although for some of you, this is with the 6 of Swords. So you could be taking a literal pilgrimage. For some of you, maybe you're going to visit a sacred site. Maybe you're going to see, you know, an elder. Maybe you're going to see a guru of some sort. August will be a month where you're traveling, but you're traveling for spiritual or personal reasons. This isn't necessarily for a vacation, but it might fulfill all of the boxes, right? Maybe you do get time away. Maybe you have a break. Maybe you get to see a sacred site or a spiritual place or a guru of some kind. Maybe you're taking a retreat. Very, very possible. So when it comes to September, Mercury will be retrograde again. All right. And for this, you've got the Judgment card. So whatever's happening on this journey or this trip, it's going to have a profound effect on your future, because then September you've got the Judgment card, and the Judgment card is always big change. This is where something big changes in your world, where some new kind of insight is taking place for you, or some big realization. And you've got this with the 3 of Wands. So for some of you, that trip that you're taking in August is an exploratory trip, right? This is you going to scope a place out. Like, is this the place that I could live? Is it the place that I could work? Is it a place that I really want to set up a business? For a lot of you, there's some kind of travel happening in September and potentially in August, but there's also a change of work, a change of business, a transition out of one job into another, and also you checking out a place. It's like, I'm going here to see, like, do I want to source products from this place to sell on my website? Do I want to live here? For a lot of you, like, and the interesting thing is, for some of you, this could be either a place that you've lived before, or it could be one of your lands of heritage, right? So as an example, I'm part Greek, part Egyptian, and I got a whole bunch of other stuff mixed in there as well, which is awesome, right? And so let's say, for me, let's say it was Greece or Egypt. Those are lands of my heritage. I've only ever been to Greece. I haven't been to any of the others, which is a shame. Planning to rectify that. But what I will say is, September could literally be a month where you're taking a journey to a place to check it out in order to say, yeah, you know what, I could actually live here. So in a sense, you're going home. For October, packed month, you've got 2 eclipses. One eclipse in the sign of Taurus, that's closing out that Taurus-Scorpio axis for good, complete, done and dusted on that homework until, like, gosh, like 9-10 years down the line. On top of that, you've got the, excuse me, the Libra new moon solar eclipse, which is, again, that's part of this. Aries and Libra energies will now be fully kicked off. So by the time we get into October, and we've had that Libra eclipse, at that point, you will well and truly you'll start to understand what the trends and themes of 2024 are going to be in that larger respect. All right, so for this, you have the Emperor again. So you got a double hit of Emperor energy this year and a double hit of the Devil card energy. What this says to me is, a part of the themes for this year are hard work and dedication, and knowing when to pull back, all right? Knowing when to lean in, put your foot to the pedal, knowing when to step back and say, actually, you know what, this isn't good for me, or it's not the right path. The Emperor here then, this is you commanding respect and authority. You've got this with the Strength card. So you're pulling rank. Here in October, there's something where you're kind of saying, no, you know what, this is how it's going to go. It's also that for some of you, you're becoming a teacher, a presenter, a mentor of some kind. Maybe for some of you, this could be that you're doing some kind of performance on a regular basis. So maybe you get an invite to a podcast and they ask you to be a regular host. Maybe you get asked to host a TV show. Very possible. Maybe you get invited to speak as a lecturer or a guest lecturer and you end up getting a position. I love this. I think October could be really, really great, and it could actually be very surprising to you. November, you have here comes the sun. You've got the Sun card, light, heat, blessings, and after, you know, a mixed bag of months, I think this is actually going to be a very welcome energy. This is probably where you're taking a vacation, or at least enjoying the fruits of your labors. And you've got this with the King of Pentacles. So if for those of you that are single, if you're meeting someone, very likely to be an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo, I would say that this person, there's probably going to be a pay bracket disparity, but they don't care. So if they don't care, why should you? You know, and I can say that now because I've been through this process. Okay, my partner wasn't a millionaire, but do you know what I mean? It's like I've had that experience and I worked through it. So now if I ever found myself in that position again, I would know how to adjust myself internally, you know, to be okay about it. This is beautiful. This is career advancement. This is recognition. This is you being seen. This is material, tangible rewards and results for your hard efforts and hard work. I love this. And whoever you're connecting to, like I said, if you're single and you're meeting someone, you're meeting an earth sign who is literally like the sun to you. Like this is somebody that is warm and vibrant and somebody that makes you feel loved and safe. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, it could be your partner that's getting the recognition or the finances or the resources, or it could be both of you. This could also be a time where this travel that you've done, you're just like, yeah, you know what, this was the right move. So as you finish the year, you've got the Magician card. Okay, so the Magician has been quite active for December, which tells me that we're probably all going to need to be on our guard in some way, shape or form. One reason being, remember, the Magician can be the trickster. So on the wider world stage, I would say December of 2023, just don't buy into everything that you're being sold by the media. Not that you would anyway. All right. Now, for you personally, like it just doesn't get any better than this, right? Like there's big recognition, there's big presentation, but there's also you in full command of your abilities at this point. The gauntlets that you've run, the experiences that you've had, the opportunities that you've taken and absolutely smashed, right? Like they see you coming into the end of this year a much more awakened, enlightened and empowered self, which is fantastic. You've got this with the Judgment card, right? I mean, to tell you that you're ready, I think is an understatement, right? And that big change, that big shift that's happening that starts in September, it'll be complete by the time we get to December. I will say as well, if you're a Life Path 33, I wonder if some of you are going in for like a proper initiation, shamanic initiation, ayahuasca journey, what else? You know, coven initiation, like that one obviously seems to want out. All right, and it is the Gate 19 and sensitivity with the butterfly on the front, right? Now, I don't know about you, but that 33 does look a little bit butterfly-like to me. I find that really interesting. And the reason I find this interesting is that sensitivity card is about metamorphosis. It's about having the intuitive faculty or understanding that you are going through a massive shift or change, that you're going through a big transformation this year. And, you know, I mean, these cards basically speak to that. So your challenge months for the year, February, March and April, those are challenge months. There's no getting around it. July is a challenge month. Outside of that, I actually think you're all right. Power months, January. May, June. I actually really like August. I wouldn't be convinced that it's a power month. I think that's more just a time of I'm finding out, I'm testing the waters. September, October, November and December, power months. I think out of all of the numbers, I think you actually have the most power months this year, which is cool. I'm here for it. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic 2023. I will see you in the comments. Let me know month by month how this shapes up for you, how it speaks to you. I will be there every step of the way with the weeklies and the monthlies, all that good stuff. Take care, and I'll see you soon.